So today we're talking about a crucial part of the boundary setting formula. Over the last couple of videos, we have talked about getting yourself in the right mindset for boundaries, as well as how to prepare for the fact that they're going to be violated. There's going to be some pushback. If you haven't watched them already, I'm going to link the playlist right here in the info card. So then you can go through and watch that and then come back to this video. For those of you who have already watched that, welcome. I'm super stoked that you're here today. We are going to be talking about the very first step to truly setting boundaries, and that's setting boundaries with yourself. Now, if you're anything like the me of a couple of years ago, you just rolled your eyes so hard and you may have already clicked out of the video. But trust me, this is incredibly important and incredibly powerful. The reason why we are starting here is because setting boundaries requires a lot of self-trust. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself that you're going to keep the boundary. You got to trust yourself that you're going to enforce the boundary. Because if you don't, you are setting flimsy boundaries at best. You're basically setting a boundary to save face without actually giving it a solid foundation. Now, look, I am just as called out here as you are. I'm not saying any of this in judgment. I am just saying it as fact. This is not only my own experience, but the experience that I hear of followers, of clients, of stories that I find everywhere. And that is why building self-trust is so important. And you start with setting boundaries with yourself. But really quick, if this is your first time hanging out, welcome. My name is Karleigh Saunders. I'm a confidence and abuse recovery coach. I am someone who, from the time of 12 to 23, was in the abusive relationship cycle. I struggled through this. My boundary setting skills were 100% garbage. I was super abrasive and yet couldn't even manage to keep a single boundary. Now that I've come out on the other side and I have found freedom, I am determined to help you do the same. So today we're talking about setting boundaries with yourself. The boundaries that we set with ourselves can be incredibly difficult to keep because we've got nothing else to bounce it off of. We've got no one else to have that communication with. It is so much easier to tell someone else, hey, don't bring Oreos into this house. I am trying not to binge eat anymore, than it is to say, oh, I'm just going to go to the store for some juice. And then you come home with that secret bag of Oreos. Yeah. Setting these boundaries with yourself are not easy. However, they are absolutely crucial if you want to be able to set and keep boundaries with other people. That's why today we're going to be talking about how to do just that. So like I mentioned, this all involves self-trust. If you don't trust yourself to have Oreos in the house, you know not to buy them. If you can't trust yourself to go to the store and not bring home Oreos, you're going to end up bringing home Oreos, no matter how many times you say that you're not going to eat them anymore. It's the exact same thing when it comes to setting boundaries in other areas of our lives. If we don't truly trust ourselves to not unblock a phone number, we're going to block the number, just keeping tabs on it so we can go back and unlock it. We're going to end up finding ourselves going back on the promises that we made to ourselves because we don't truly trust ourselves enough to follow through. And this is not just a mind thing either. This is a belief that is wired within our brain. Because when we tell our brain, hey, we're not going to go over to his house anymore. He is toxic. He is an F-boy. I deserve better. Your brain's going to go, right. We're not going back. Okay, we've all been there. When we don't trust ourselves, we're not going to follow through. That is why building up this skill of self-trust, starting with little things and graduating to big things, is really, really important. The very first thing I want you to do is think of one or two things that you've wanted to do or you know you need to do, but you haven't yet. Maybe this is starting that yoga program. Maybe it's getting rid of all the junk food in the house. Maybe it's finally finding a therapist or a group to go talk to. Whatever it is, find just one or two things and write that down. After you find these one or two things, I want you to have a deadline set for when you're going to have that done by. Whether that's this afternoon, tomorrow, or next week, set a deadline. And then I want you to do every possible thing you can to meet this deadline. While clearing all the junk food out of your house may not seem related to finally blocking the phone number and not going back to the person that abused you, I promise you it's all tied in together. Because when you begin to follow through on these things, you're telling your brain, holy crap, she's doing this. She said she was going to do it, and she actually did it. What? Now, that doesn't directly, it's not a direct line to thinking, okay, well, now we're going to block the phone number. We're never going to go back. We're going to be single forever. And we're never going to do that. Take it baby steps at a time. Because as you do this, every single time you follow through on something, you build up your sense of confidence and you build up your sense of self-trust. As you begin to trust yourself more, your brain's going to go, well, we did that. Maybe we can do this one. This one's a little harder. This one's a little bit more difficult. Let's see if we can do it. And then it becomes a game. As you begin to set these little boundaries with yourself, these little goals, these little deadlines, you're going to build this self-trust and you are going to take off towards your goal of setting the ultimate boundaries. So, but just start small. Don't try to overhaul your life overnight. I do it too. Don't do it. Just pick one or two things. Start there. When you meet that deadline, celebrate it. Did you get all the crap out of your house? Celebrate it. Now, I'm not saying to celebrate getting all the crap out of your house by going and getting an entire case of Oreos. I think I want Oreos. I think that's why I keep talking about them so much. But I'm not saying to go all in that way, but celebrate. Maybe it's watching your favorite movie. Maybe it's watching trashy TV that you always feel bad about watching. Whatever it is, do that. Celebrate it. Have a dance party with your kids in the living room. Watch your favorite movie. Whatever your celebration is, do that. And then I want you to do it again. Set another deadline and continue to meet it. As you do this, you're building up confidence in yourself and your brain is finally believing that you truly are capable of setting and keeping deadlines. And deadlines and days and goal setting times are just another word for boundaries. Because you're putting up this wall and you're saying it's not going past this date. I'm not going to do it beyond this point. It's going to be done right here. That's a boundary. That's exactly what a boundary is, because all of a sudden the time comes up and you're like, holy crap, the time is here. I can't push past on it. I'm not going to let it go way over here. It's going to get done right here, right now. That a deadline is just a time boundary. When you begin to have that mindset shift, you're going to realize that you're probably better at setting and keeping boundaries than you may think, which again is going to build up that sense of self-trust and build up your ability to set the bigger boundaries in the future. This is also going to teach your brain that boundaries are not just for other people, but they're also for yourself too. You are allowed to and encouraged to set and keep boundaries. As you begin to set these boundaries with yourself and keep them, it's going to be a whole lot easier to have that mindset of, you know what? This boundary isn't just for everyone else. This is for me too. Because I know that, well, right now I'm feeling some kind of way and that way feels really good with that person. But when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to feel like crap. You're going to know, you know what? I'm doing this for me, not for them. I'm doing this because I know long-term it's not good for me. And so I'm going to do better. Or this is why I look at boundaries in this way, because I really struggled. Looking back on my life, I genuinely do not recognize the me from 2 or 3 years ago. It feels like I'm watching a movie of another person, because I used to not set boundaries at all. I was a yes woman. If someone needed my time, I gave it to them. If someone needed my body, I gave it to them. If someone needed my talent, I gave it to them. If someone needed anything, heck, there is literally someone out there who owes me over $400 for babysitting gigs. And why don't I have it? Because I was too scared to set the boundary and actually get the payment. So I never want any of this to come off as judgment or from I know it all place. I have just figured out what's helped me, and I've seen that help so many other people, and I want to share it with you as well. Boo, you deserve to have these boundaries, even the boundaries with yourself. Whatever they are, whatever you've decided for them to be, you deserve them. You deserve boundaries with other people too, but first I want you to check in with yourself. You deserve to have these boundaries. You deserve to set these things and you deserve to reach them. You are deserving of these boundaries, especially the ones with yourself. You deserve to trust yourself. This is going to take time. Over the course of this boundaries series, it's going to happen a lot faster than how you're actually going to apply it in real life. Understand that you're going to trip, you're going to fall on your face, and you're going to be times you set that deadline and you are going to go past it. Don't use that as an excuse to beat yourself up. Use that as a reason to just keep going. In the next video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what you need to do to set, communicate, and enforce your boundaries. But in the meantime, while you're waiting, watch this playlist right here. This playlist is going to walk you through gaslighting, what it is, and how to fight back. And chances are you're actually gaslighting yourself, which is a really big reason as to why you struggle with setting boundaries. So go watch that playlist through and then come back for the next video on boundaries. Thank you so much. And never forget that you are strong, you are capable, you are intelligent, and boo, you are so freaking worthy.